Wow, Parshas Achrei Mos Kedoshim. We're talking about, we're at this juncture in time where we're experiencing a very similar process that the Jews experienced when they were leaving Mitzrayim. It seems to be that, you know, being redeemed, it would have been nice to be brought right from Eretz Yisrael and then straight into, from Egypt, straight into Israel. But it didn't happen that way. It wasn't even planned to be a one night journey. It was supposed to be 2, 3 weeks. In other words, after they got through the Red Sea, it was supposed to be about another 2 weeks and they would have been in Eretz Yisrael. And Hashem understood that this was going to be a miracle, but in the boundaries of nature. What it seems is that God does not want us to abuse the nature that He has set up, except for extreme extenuating circumstances. And therefore, when we left Mitzrayim, when we left Egypt, we had to go step by step, 6 days till we hit the sea, and then had the Egyptians chase us in, us come out and they stay in, and then we have another 2 week journey. And along that 2 week journey is when we messed up. And it seems to be that I had mentioned before that it's an amazing thing. The concept of leaving Egypt and the holiday of Shavuos, Matan Torah, the day we received the Torah, which was 50 days later, they say that they each have a specific parable. Leaving Egypt is like engagement, and getting the Torah is like marriage. And what happens is, a lot of times for people who has experienced this in their own lives, may be able to relate to this, that after engagement, they're like on cloud nine. And then at a certain point in time, they kind of like reality sets in, like, what am I doing? Wow, this is a really big thing. And when I get to Shavuos, it's a whole different experience. So sometimes in between the engagement and the marriage, doubts creep in. And that's where, as we mentioned before, Amalek attacked the Jewish people. And Amalek, of course, is the nation that we call the nation of people that create doubt. As a matter of fact, the numerical value of the gematria of Amalek is the same gematria of the word Suffolk, doubt. And therefore, we see that the function of Amalek is to create doubt. But what kind of doubt? So the doubt that I think that everybody seems to agree, I mean, there may be many, many opinions, but what most of the classical commentaries explain is that they created self-doubt. Self-doubt about how the Jewish people are really in the eyes of God. And I think the function of the attack of Amalek was what they call in the classic Talmudic literature that they want to cool down the hot bath. It was a hot bath, and everybody was afraid to go in. But once one person went in, then everybody realized it's possible to go in. So once Amalek attacked us and saw the Jews were not invincible, right? So therefore, other people could attack the Jewish people. That's simple explanation. But what happens is that it creates a certain self-doubt. Wait a second, maybe God doesn't love me so much. Maybe I'm not really worthy. And maybe I'm not going to make it. And I think that is one of the most poignant ideas, that we have to know that during this time of Sfiras HaOmer, our job is to now work for ourselves and use each day of the Sfiras HaOmer to build ourselves step by step to get to the level of receiving the Torah. And that's part of the function of the Sfiras HaOmer. And I hope that we all utilize this time appropriately and follow the steps. In other words, there's steps known in the mystical world as the Spheros of Chesed, Gvur, Tiferes, Netzach, Hod, Yisod, and Malchus. And each week is like the first week was Chesed, the second week was Gvura, The third week was Tiferes, and this week is the week of Netzach, which is the week of victory. So we all have we supposed to use the main theme of the week, and each day of the week is supposed to be a subset specifically for that day. And if we follow that, then we will accomplish. But one other thing I think is important to know is that the weekly parsha that we read during this period of time is supposed to give us a certain spiritual boost in order to accomplish some of the things we have to accomplish. And it's interesting how this Shabbos is the day that corresponds to Gvura Shebenetzach, the might of victory, or the might of eternity. There are many different ways of looking at it. Let's look at it like this. And we explain that the might of eternity means that a person has the power to overcome his enemies. And that's supposed to kind of balance out the suffix that we have that Amalek has placed inside our brains, thinking that we can't do it. And this is supposed to tell us that, yes, we can. And stay tuned for the next segment where I'll explain a little bit of a more detail or another vantage point of how to accomplish this. Zai get benched.